Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It's the middle of the week. We're going to continue through with more of our week's theme, multimedia. We'll be looking at songs that are paired with paired with video, usually in the form of a music video officially sanctioned by the band. Today we're going to be looking at a Steven Wilson song music video called Routine. Let's dig into it.
What do I do with all the children's clothes? Such tiny things, and still smell of them. And the footprints in the hallway hung to my knees. Scrub them away. Make the tea and the soup, all of their favorites.
Yeah, so we have a pretty standard 5 pulse right here with a 3 followed by a 2.
And the running shoes, washing them clean in the dirty steel sink. Keep making beds and keep the cat fed. Open the windows, let the air in.
I like all the different timbres. They're utilizing the same pulse and core idea in various different ways. So they've shifted to 4 for this more melancholic section. More pensive, maybe. I have a theory on why. We'll get to it later. Interesting. We moved to a 3 or a 6 feel here. Really bringing in some of the creeping elements that I think were in the undertones of the previous section. Really beautiful time to bring in the woodwinds. I think that at least this section introduces a lot of the longing that the song is aiming for. Back to the 5.
stainless steel up. Keep washing, keep scrubbing long until the dark comes to lose the sky. Deep in there to love.
Beautiful transition into this new meter.
The most beautiful morning forever. Like the ones from far off away. With the hum of the bees in the jasmine sway. Don't ever let go. Try to let go. Don't ever let go. Try to let go. Don't ever.
All right. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy song there. Pretty heavy topic anyways. Um so of course the song is about a woman trying to continue on with life after her entire family is ripped away from her in a school shooting. Um and the music plays into some of these ideas very well. Um, so I think I don't know if I should start with the meter or the music first. Um, I think I have more to say about the meter, so we're going to start with the music. So there's three parts to this song. We have the primary part of the song, which I would say is possibly the verse, if you will. If you want to look at it in more traditional song structure, it's the part that has the majority of the vocals. It's the 5/4 section. Then we also have the 6/8 section, which is the more pensive element. It is the section of the song the first time, and actually the second time, I think, as well. She's sitting at the tree staring out into the water. This is that more melancholic, pensive section. And then, of course, we have the rock section, the part where we have the guitar, the distorted guitar come in, and it's written in 4/4 and it's heavier. Those are our three primary sections, and they all serve different purposes. Now, all right, I'm just going to combine. I don't think I can talk about them separately. We're going to talk about the music and the meter at the same time and how they complement each other into providing specific atmospheres for each of these distinct situations. So, the primary part, the 5/4, it is calming with something a little dark sitting under the surface. But for the most part, it's a rather chill, soothing esque uh, melody line and chord progression. There's nothing in it that's extremely tense, but there is a little bit of tension that's kind of underneath that chill main feeling that I get out of it. And of course, that's designed to feed into some of the more melancholic aspects of the 6/8, as well as the harsher elements in the rock section. It's a sort of foreshadowing, if you will, to the tones and themes in both the music and in the music video. Now, the 5/4 is interesting. It ties in very neatly to this idea of mourning. Um, 5/4 is odd. As given by the top number, we have 5 beats in a bar. And unless you're going to cut a beat in half, you're not going to have a even rhythm to the song. And of course, we don't have it here. There's the two most common ways to split up a 5 beat bar is into a group of 3 and a group of 2, or a group of 2 and then a group of 3. And in here, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a 3 and then a 2. And what that means is that our bar feels like it's dragging in the first half and rushing in the second half. Especially since we use those notes. We use beat 1 and beat 4 as primary markers, not just in the rhythm, but also in the melody. So it creates this idea where every part of the song feels like it drags and then rushes and then drags and then rushes. And it's this constant back and forth that I can imagine is part of the daily life of somebody in mourning. They didn't mention how recently this event happened where the woman lost her family, but the wound is still fresh in one sense or another. Um, and of course, she can't escape it. She hasn't moved on yet. She hasn't gone to a new house or removed their items. She's still smelling their clothes to bring back memories. Um, there's she hasn't reached the point where she's accepted their deaths yet. So there's some really strong ideas of mourning in here, and the idea of routine, the name of the song, and as we can see in her actions, as we can see in some of the lyrics, continue to clean, continue to cook with your stainless steel pots. The idea is that you fall into your routine so you don't allow, your mind to wander and think about things. You just go through the motions of life and ignore the pain. Um, but the interesting thing is, as we saw in the music videos, you can't always do that. You can try to stick to your routine, you can try to shut off your brain, but she hasn't moved on enough to remove these items from the household, so it's impossible for her to remove herself from these reminders. And no matter what, no matter how hard she tries to fall into this routine, she's eventually going to see a reminder and, get pulled into that. And it's this push and pull of trying to deal with it and then being reminded of it, and trying to deal with it and being reminded of it. Um, that the 5-4 completely embodies. It's a back and forth, a tug of war between meandering and feeling like things are going crazy, between, just moving through life and then feeling like you're accelerating through it, continuing to live in the moment, or trying to, get outside your mind and continue to live, and then being thrust back into that moment of, sorrow. It's this constant push and pull, and the 5-4 is such a perfect pick for it. Steven could have gone for a different odd number of beats. He could have gone for 7 or 9. And they would still have a feeling of that. But the thing is, the larger that we make the number, the more times we can break it up. Yes, 9 could be a bar of 4 and a bar of 5, but that also means that we have 8 beats of feeling normal and then one odd beat. It's not a push and pull, it's a random outlier, it's a fringe moment. 7 can be 3 and 4, and that's the same thing. We can also break the 4 into 2-2 and have 3-2-2, or 2-2-3, or 2-3-2, and emphasize the beats that way and create that kind of pulse. But once again, it's not a back and forth. It's more of sitting in a moment that feels normal for a while and then kind of tripping. You get a bar of 4 and then a bar of 3, and the 3 feels just a bit short, and it feels more like tripping rather than being push and pulled like the 5 does. The 5 is actually the perfect time signature for creating this element of duality, at least as far as I see it, pertaining to this idea of mourning and dealing with loss, trying to get through those emotions. So the 5-4 is perfect for the daily life. And like I said, it's not a happy melody, but it's not dark, it's not brooding, it's not sad, it's melancholic. There's some pensiveness to it, but it's sort of just kind of blah. It's bland. It's there. It's not really evoking any sort of strong emotion, as much as just being a guitar line to accompany some vocals. And that idea of just being works well into the idea of the routine, just trying to go through the motions to get through another day. It really is sort of the darker undertones, the tension hidden underneath, that is the characteristic aspect of it, but it's an idea we won't see show up in this 5-4 section at all. It's, like I said, it's foreshadowing for future stuff. And then, of course, every once in a while we see that padded out with a 6-8 pensive element. It is more melancholic. There's some sadness that's brought in. It's more inward. It feels meditative in a sense, also thoughtful. There's a lot of resolution to this. Some of the darkness is a bit gone. I don't know if this is more of the acceptance or possibly the idea of, I don't know, maybe it could be the hope. We also have resolved on an even number on top of the time signature. We have 6 beats per bar. That's evenly divided, and in this song we typically divide it into 2 sets of 3, so we have downbeats on 1 and 4 once again, which showcase this idea that these are two sides of the same coin. Our downbeats are still the same. We have emphasis on beats 1 and 4. It's just that in our regular routine, trying to get through the day, we're missing a beat. Something's missing. Oh, I didn't even catch that. Something's missing. And of course, in the story, it's her family. But in the music, it's the beat. And then we get that beat added in. So we get this sixth phrase, which feels more balanced. And like I said, the music, maybe this is hope or sort of just coming to terms with the events, and completing the grieving process. It still hurts. There's still pain in this section, but there's also a bit of acceptance. There's not happiness, but resolution, at least, to some of the chord stuff, especially since in the 5/4, it really is a back and forth on chords. We don't have a progression, which means we don't have a resolution. We just sort of move back and forth between these two chords indefinitely, again, tying back into the idea of the routine. There is no end to it. You just do the same thing you've always done. So that 6/8 is a really nice counter to this 5/4. And the music as well, like I said, it just pairs with it very well because it shows the next step, moving on. But as anybody who's lost somebody, moving on is not a definite state. You do not magically just one day say, okay, I've come to terms with what's happened. I get it. Let's go on with life. There will always be what could be seen as a regression, if you want to put it that way, days that are just not as positive as other days. Um, and that is, I think, the back and forth on this song, where the 6/8 eventually lends itself to fall back into the routine of the 5/4. What I think is really interesting is the second time we get done with the 5/4, we actually introduce a 6/8 part at the end of it. It slowly becomes complete rhythmically, even though we're still utilizing the melody and musical ideas of the 5 section. We've shifted into 6/8 about 4 bars before we actually move into that pensive melancholy idea again. And I think I mentioned it was a beautiful transition from time signature, but now that I'm actually seeing the story and, connecting all the musical themes throughout, um, it is just such a perfect way to marry the two ideas, to have that slow progression into it. And then, of course, I think the rock section is, is pretty simple. It's a bit on the nose, a little more so than the previous two. It's heavy, it's angsty. It is the rage or the denial, or just being upset, that part of the grieving process. I believe the section is in 4/4. It's very simple. It is just loud and angry and standard, and the vocals align with it. They get a little bit less. I don't know. They're not. I don't want to say chipper, but the clean vocals that we see throughout the song are very mundane. They're a bit lower in volume. There's a little bit of airiness to them. It's kind of soothing in a sense, but because of the way that the music's created, there's some tension to the notes that they're picking. So even though it's a bit of a soothing voice, kind of telling you to go about your day, there is something dark underlying beneath it all. And then, of course, we have that yell or scream type thing that goes along with it. I think the first time, maybe it was the second time. And once again, like I said, it's part of the grieving process. You have just try and get through with it. You have your reminders and falling into sorrow. You have your rage. You have your acceptance. And people bounce between these all the time. And that is the whole point of this song, I think. I think it's interesting at the end that we see some sort of combination of the 5 and the 6 sections, when she seems to be accepting of the situation, and she seems to, in the music video, she doesn't have as strong of of the two reactions that she does to the items around her house. Um, Let me see real quick. I'm trying to portray this idea. So yeah, she's instead of doing the chores and making sure the house is pristine. Let me pull this up for you. And trying to just get through the day, she is actively looking at some cards, and she seems to be a bit more at peace with what has happened. And I believe this section combined some ideas from the 5 and the 6 to create a final musical idea that's a combination of the sort of brain dead, just trying to get through the day, trying to turn your brain off so you don't think about it, and then the melancholy that comes from remembering the events and actually, dealing with those emotions. There's some nice resolution to this section. So yeah, once again, like the other stuff we've checked out, why can't I ever remember anything? Oh, Pink Floyd's The Trial, and Laura Marling's When Brave Birds Saved. The music video really helps me understand a lot of what's going on here because it provides me a visual language that I can kind of pay a little bit of attention to. Visual language tends to move a little slower, so I can ignore it for a bit at a time and still kind of get an overall picture, while also paying attention to an audio aspect. Whereas normally I would need to get more direct cues about the storytelling from the lyrics, and pulling the lyrics out against the music and trying to analyze words while I'm trying to analyze music is not it's not a skill I quite have honed yet. It also requires poetic dissection, and that's just another. It's just a lot of stuff on top of each other. The video can be very blunt, like it is, and I can apply some of the overall themes to the music a lot easier. However, I am glad that I checked out the video. The last time we checked out a Steven Wilson multimedia project was something about a crow, and I didn't quite get it. Raven? The raven that refused to sing. I didn't quite get the video, I didn't quite get the music, but once again, much like this, it was a rather simple song, utilizing just one or two ideas and playing around with them, but really creating a story based on the musical ideas. And I missed it when I was watching it. That did not happen here. And like I said, I'm really glad that we got to see the video this time, because I'm not sure I would have made all these connections without it. The song routine, I definitely would have tried to tie something into that, especially the mundanity of the music itself. But I'm not sure I would have got this idea from the lyrics about a woman trying to move through grief, or a person trying to move through grief. So, yeah, excellent pick. Really enjoyed this one. Just as nothing, if nothing else, than to show up as an example of how to marry musical ideas with themes, and to tie even subtle things like time signature into the story you're trying to tell with your music. So, yeah, just really great pick for this week. I'm glad we got to do this one. This is where you guys come in, though. That's my thoughts on Steven Wilson's routine. What did you guys think? If you enjoyed this or not, anything that stuck out to you, maybe I didn't talk about, hit me up in the comments. Above the comment section, there's a description box. In the description box is a link for Linktree, which is a really nifty menu that takes you to all sorts of places related to the channel. You can check out the Twitter, join the Discord, support me through Patreon, send me an email, submit a special selection, as well as any number of other things. Above the description box, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, I greatly appreciate all three. We have one more video that is out right now. It aired 24 seconds ago. You can probably just turn this off. I have nothing else to say. If you've been around for a while, it's the same old outro. Go ahead and watch that one. Otherwise, I'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC tomorrow. We'll be doing another multimedia track, as well as whatever special selection. I think we have one more special selection. And then Friday, I'm going to check out something from my inbox as I've fallen into the pattern of doing, which is pretty cool. It's nice again getting to check out some smaller groups' works and kind of give them some feedback and some criticism, a little bit of praise, and hopefully it helps them uh, grow as musicians and composers. All right, until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.